Oscar speeches. We've definitely had a lot of them throughout the decades, and some are really fun, some are memorable, some are boring, and we just want someone to get the hook on this person. For many people in the film industry, this is their moment to shine. So typically, even when the speech isn't great, they're usually pretty solid, especially when you get to like the actors and directors and screenwriters. But throughout the years, we have had some truly incredible Oscar speeches. It is time to break down what I believe are the 10 best. Here we go. Number 10, Best Supporting Actor, Joe Pesci, Goodfellas.
Oh, it's my privilege, thank you.
So this one had to make the list because it is one of the shortest Oscar speeches of all time, and I kind of adore it. I always have. Like, he's so verbose in the movie Goodfellas, you would think Joe Pesci would go up there and have a lot to say, but he is like, nope, I'm good. I'm just gonna say a few words here and get off the stage as fast as I can. And you don't really see that at the Oscars very much. Usually, the person goes on and on and on. Only occasionally throughout the decades will someone just say like one sentence, a few words, and then leave. Here was one of those rare cases with Joe Pesci. Number 9, Best Actress, Julia Roberts, Erin Brockovich.
So I thank you for really making me feel so... I love it up here.
So we can go back and forth on who should have won in this category that night in 2001. Should it have been Julia Roberts? Should it have been Laura Linney or Joan Allen or Ellen Burstyn for Requiem for a Dream? Feel the way you do about the win itself, but you cannot deny the charm of Julia Roberts' Oscar acceptance speech. It's funny and witty and off the cuff. I love that thing she says about Stickman. And then when she just stops her speech to let out this roar of excitement, and like, it's just a really fun watch if you're a fan of Julia Roberts. I personally love her in that movie, and this Oscar speech is one of my favorites. Number 8, Best Actor, Dustin Hoffman, Kramer versus Kramer.
He has no genitalia and he's holding a sword.
So here's a speech I've always admired for a couple reasons. First, his humor at the beginning is fantastic. 2 jokes back to back that land very well with the audience. And then another thing I like about his speech is that, especially back in the 60s and 70s, Dustin Hoffman had kind of a love-hate relationship with the Oscars. He didn't believe comparing one performance to another. So after his bits of humor, he does give this wonderful speech about how he's conflicted about being up there, accepting the trophy. He doesn't think he deserves to win a trophy over the other men in his category, and it's just a wonderful mix of humor, humility, and heartfelt. Number 7, Best Actress, Louise Fletcher, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I want to say thank you for teaching me to have a dream. You are seeing my dream come true.
So this is a really lovely speech I love because Louise Fletcher does sign language for her deaf parents in her speech. I believe it was the first time anybody had done that on the Oscar stage. Of course, she gives a tremendous performance in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. She was far and away the favorite to win in Best Actress here, and I do think she was ahead of her time doing sign language in her speech. She is very emotional here. It obviously means the world to her that she won and that she got to kind of share this moment with her deaf parents. Number 6, Best Supporting Actor, Cuba Gooding Jr., Jerry Maguire.
Regina King, I love you. You did a great job when we made the movie. Everybody involved with the movie, I love you. Oh my goodness.
So kind of like with Julia Roberts, you can argue if Cuba Gooding Jr. was deserving of this Oscar win, I've always felt that the trophy should have gone to Edward Norton that year for Primal Fear, but Gooding Jr. is wonderful in Jerry Maguire, and he is clearly over the moon excited about winning an Academy Award. His enthusiasm jumping around the stage is so infectious, many of the audience members rise to their feet and give him a standing ovation. I remember watching this speech live when I was a kid, and I had never seen anything like that before. I had watched a couple Oscar ceremonies the years before, and for the most part, the speeches were kind of muted, but here in early 1997, Cuba Gooding Jr. gave it his everything. Number 5, Best Director, Bong Joon-ho, Parasite.
That quote was from our great Martin Scorsese. So,
What an incredible night that was, seeing Parasite, my favorite film of 2019, and certainly one of the top 2 or 3 films of the last decade, keep winning at the Academy Awards. We all felt pretty confident it was going to win International Feature and Screenplay and maybe Picture, but I definitely did not think Bong Joon-ho was going to win Director. Sam Mendes had won pretty much every precursor that season for 1917, and so when Spike Lee said Bong Joon-ho, it was a huge moment. And then we get this wonderful speech from the man, mostly via his translator, Sharon Choi, where instead of making the moment all about him, he recognizes other directors in the field. There's especially that very memorable moment when he gives Martin Scorsese his due, and everyone in the auditorium gives a director who didn't actually win a very much deserved standing ovation. It's one of my favorite moments of the last few Oscar telecasts. This is a fantastic, gracious speech from Bong Joon-ho. Number 4, Best Actress, Halle Berry, Monsters Ball.
Sentence for every nameless, faceless woman of color that now has a chance because his door tonight has been opened.
What a moment this was. Like, I can remember it as if it were yesterday, the first African-American woman to win in the Best Actress category. It wasn't a sure thing. Sissy Spacek had won the Golden Globe, and she was up for In the Bedroom, a movie that got into Best Picture and Best Director and things. And so Halle Berry's victory in early 2002 was not a guarantee, and I think her semi-surprise win there contributed to her shock and delight in this historic moment. Halle Berry gives a speech from the heart. Her tears, her emotion, her recognition of this moment. There's just been very few speeches like it. It is a riveting few minutes of television. And boy, did Halle Berry really take in that moment. Number 3, Best Supporting Actress, Hattie McDaniel, Gone with the Wind.
I sincerely hope I shall always be a credit to my race and to the motion picture industry. My heart is too full to tell you just how I feel, and may I say thank you.
Okay, so if you go back to Oscar ceremonies of like the 1930s and the 1940s, there's very few speeches available online. They didn't start broadcasting the Academy Awards until the mid-1950s, so there's really not much to go by in those first 25-ish years of the Academy Awards. Thankfully, a couple speeches from early 1940 have been saved, like Vivien Leigh, who won Best Actress for Gone with the Wind, and most significantly, Hattie McDaniel, who won Best Supporting Actress for Gone with the Wind. She became the first African-American person to win an Oscar. This was such an historic moment. Hattie McDaniel could not even sit with the rest of her cast and crew for Gone with the Wind. She was seated elsewhere, but she got to give this passionate speech that has been saved in the annals of time, and if you've never seen it before, watch it in full. It's one of my favorites. Definitely one of the most important Oscar wins of all time, and one of the all-timer speeches. Number 2, Best Actress, Olivia Colman, The Favourite.
I used to work as a cleaner and I loved that job. I did spend quite a lot of my time imagining this. Oh, please wrap up. Right, okay. And,
So I don't know about you, but this is probably the Oscar speech I have watched more than any other. Whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I need a pick-me-up, I will go watch Olivia Colman's Oscar speech for Best Actress from early 2019. I mean, in the moment, on the night, I was very disappointed for Glenn Close. I really wanted her to finally win an Oscar on her 7th nomination. It didn't happen. I was sad, even though I did very much love Colman's performance in The Favourite. But now, many years later, I'm kind of happy Colman won because this was just one of the most awesome speeches ever. She's clearly just making things up as she goes along. There's no structure to what she's saying. She's reacting to people in front of her. She's making funny jokes and making weird noises. And it has just the most amazing ending. I love everything about this speech. It will always be one of my favorites. Alright, so before I get to my number 1 choice, a few runners-up, I have to include Sally Field for Places of the Heart because of that often misquoted part of her speech. Everyone thinks she says, "You like me, you really, really like me." That's not what she says.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me. Right now, you like me.
I think it's a really heartwarming moment, and I've always adored that. Also, Cher for Moonstruck. It's a very fun speech. I especially love her shout out to Meryl Streep.
That I did my first movie with her, and now I was nominated with her, and I feel really thankful.
Another great shout out to Streep comes from Kate Winslet when she won Best Actress for The Reader.
I think we all can't believe we were in a category with Meryl Streep at all. I'm sorry, Meryl, but you have to just suck that up.
That's also a great speech. I love what Robin Williams says when he wins Best Supporting Actor for Good Will Hunting.
I want to thank my father up there, the man who, when I said I wanted to be an actor, he said, "Wonderful, just have a backup profession like welding."
And then finally, Sandra Bullock's Oscar win for The Blind Side. I have had mixed emotions about throughout the years. She is my favorite actress, but I never really thought she was deserving to win an Academy Award for that performance. However, kind of like with Julia Roberts, another one of my favorites, I adore Sandra Bullock's Oscar speech. I love especially what she says about her mom.
If I can take this moment to thank Helga B. For not letting me write in cards with boys till I was 18, because she was right, I would have done what she said I was going to do.
And then finally, that takes me to my number 1 choice. What do I think is the best Oscar speech of all time? Honestly, I'm going with the one I thought of first. When this topic came up, and I was like, what are some Oscar speeches I love? This was the one that came to mind first, and I immediately watched it again on YouTube. It is a stunning all-timer from one of our greats. My number 1 choice is Best Actor, Tom Hanks, Philadelphia.
And this case is magnified by the fact that the streets of heaven are too crowded with angels. We know their names. They number 1,000 for each one of the red ribbons that we wear here tonight.
I mean, okay, this one might seem more rehearsed than some of the other Oscar speeches I talked about in this video. It does feel like he walked onto that stage knowing exactly what he was going to say. He was the favorite to win that night. There were no surprises in Best Actor in early 1994. Tom Hanks pretty much had that win in the bag. So obviously he had a prepared speech, but there is just so much emotion in what he talks about, in working with gay men on Philadelphia, how the AIDS crisis affected him and the world. It is an incredible, lovely speech that also, by the way, inspired a movie, In and Out, from 1997. I mean, I feel like that has to make it number 1, right? I mean, any Oscar speech that inspired a major feature film that also went on to get an Oscar nomination for Joan Cusack in Best Supporting Actress. Come on. We all love Tom Hanks. He is one of our best. One of his finest performances is in Philadelphia, and his Oscar speech at the 1994 ceremony is my choice for the best in the history of the Academy Awards.